Welcome back to the Tracy Take. Today, Ryan and I will be doing the final part in our mini series called NFL Wildcard 2002 Weekend Spectacular Extravaganza, where we will be previewing the Arizona Cardinals and Los Angeles Rams first ever Monday night playoff game. It is going to be a fun one. These two teams have already played twice, and I think it's going to be a great matchup to end the weekend. But before we get into that, I want to tell you about a little goal that Ryan and I have of getting to 400 subscribers by Super Bowl weekend. So if you have not already, please help us out. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment on this video. Let us know what you think of the title of our little mini series and how awful it was. The title, not the series, hopefully. And then with that being said, Ryan, let's get into it. This is going to be a fun one. Very interesting too, because these two teams have played twice. Both times these teams played, they were at, I have to say, complete opposite ends of kind of like their potential spectrum. Arizona, when they first played, came into Los Angeles, shocked a lot of people, dominated the Rams, while the Rams did not play well and were struggling a little bit during that period of the season to perform well. Then when they played again later in the season, the Cardinals were not performing up to the expectations that had been put onto them early on in the season. They had some key injuries, particularly the main one with DeAndre Hopkins being out now for the rest of the season, and they just have not seemed to have regained the form. Then they lost to the Rams, while the Rams, I think, have turned into the team that we all thought that they could be. They would have been a higher seed, the 2 seed, if it wasn't for a heartbreaking loss to the San Francisco 49ers in the final game of the season. But that being said, I don't think that is a horrible loss, because they were still in the playoff and they still ended up winning the division. I think this is a good matchup for the Rams. What do you think the Cardinals have to do going into this game to win and move on to the next round?
Well, that's kind of hard to say, because I feel like they have kept the same game plan throughout the year. I think that they have tried to spread out defenses, run a spread offense, get Kyler Murray in space. They just haven't really been able to do it successfully. And I think that is the game plan that could work. Really spread out this defense. While they are a star-studded defense, they definitely are a little bit top-heavy with Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and Von Miller. And what I mean by that is, like, they have stars, but outside of those stars is average players.
Yeah, there's a steep drop off to the next guy.
So I really think that this defense can be taken advantage of by the Cardinals. I think if they can spread it out, make them have to cover, and I guess the term I've been using a lot is make them have to play defense with all 11 players. And I know that sounds kind of stupid because it's 11 on 11, but
a
lot of times, like, you'll have people that'll dominate the front, like Aaron Donald can just completely take over the whole entire offensive line. So I think the Cardinals have to come out and execute their game plan and not just try to do things. And if it doesn't work, adapt. Try and figure out what does work. Whether it's running guys on jet sweeps and really spreading the defense out horizontally. Maybe they catch a break and Rondale Moore or AJ Green gets deep on this defense. So we'll have to go ahead and see kind of what they try to do, but they just need to execute, and they need to make more plays than what they did in the regular season matchup.
Yeah.
As far as the Rams go, I think the Rams are definitely playing a lot better. The Cardinals have lost 4 out of their last 5, while the Rams have won 4 out of their last 5, and kind of like you said, turned into the team that we thought they would be. What do the Rams have to do to come in here and win this game?
I think one of the biggest things when I kind of look at it is you do need to contain on defensive side of the ball. I think it's much simpler. I think you need to contain Kyler Murray and put pressure on him, make him get moving. He has made some poor decisions throughout the year when throwing the ball, so you might be able to force some turnovers. And with them not having DeAndre Hopkins, I think if you can just play solid defense and can just to continue to put on the pressure, I think that's all they really need from the defense. Obviously, like you'd love for them to get stopped and shut them out, but I don't think that's realistic. But I think it is possible that
Mhm.
they hold them again to 24 points. I think what they need to do against on the offensive side of the ball is they need to establish the run. And they need to have a balanced attack. And the game against the Baltimore, they got behind early and they weren't able to establish the run. And it makes sense. Baltimore's one of the best running defenses in the league. They had to storm back and barely win that game in the fourth quarter to continue holding on to the division. And then when it came to against the 49ers, they came out hot out of the gate, some great plays. But then when it came time to really kind of slow down and control the game once you're up 17-0, they weren't able to run the ball effectively and waste clock. And so I think that's what they're going to have to do, because we know what obviously they're going to be able or capable of doing with Cooper Kupp, probably the best receiver in the league right now. Then you have Tyler Higbee
Mhm.
as well. Odell Beckham Jr. has seemed to have found second life. So if they're able to establish the run, it's going to be a long day for this Cardinals team. And I think that's a possibility as
Yeah.
well. The Cardinals have had tendencies to giving up a lot of rushing yards. They're ranked 20th overall in rushing yards allowed, averaging just shy of 115 per game.
Mhm.
But the Rams don't match up well against that, where they're not even averaging 100 rushing yards per game. So I think that's a huge thing
Yeah.
that they need to focus on in order to
I
win
will
this game.
say that the Rams rushing stats are a little bit misleading. They have been better lately,
Mm-hmm.
running the football. Sonny Michel and Cam Akers is actually at practice or coming back. I'm not sure.
I saw that.
Um,
Yeah, that's going to be
so
interesting.
I know that the Rams have been better running the football in the last few weeks here of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think we'll just kind of have to see. But I definitely think this matchup favors the Rams. I think the Rams talent wise right now, I think are a little better. I think Matthew Stafford is having a really good year. Odell Beckham is starting to pick it up, catching I think 6 touchdowns in a Rams uniform,
Mm-hmm.
only playing half the season there. And then Cooper Kupp obviously led the league in receiving touchdowns, receptions, and receiving yards. Just having a phenomenal year. So I think right now the Rams are the more talented team, and they're also playing better football. Not to give away my pick on who is going to win, but I guess that's a good segue into our picks. So who do you think is going to come out on top? Do you think the Cardinals can come out with an upset and kind of turn things around, or do you think it's just going to be following the trend here of how they've been over the last few weeks?
Well, one of the things with the Cardinals, I think that we need to mention that they really need is they need James Conner to be healthy and to play. And
Hmm.
nothing. Oh, I'm blank. Who's there? Nothing against Chase Edmonds, but
Yeah.
he is a dual threat running back. But I think when it comes to specifically running the ball, I think it is good for the Cardinals to have both backs in there. James Conner, I think, is a little bit more of the bruiser, something that they need, which can then help open up the passing game for them as well, because with DeAndre Hopkins out, they definitely need a more balanced offense.
Hmm.
So if James Conner doesn't play, I think that's going to be a huge loss. And then also, as I already mentioned, losing DeAndre Hopkins has been really tough, I think, for this offense that has already seemed to just be off for some reason. Um, well, even before DeAndre Hopkins got hurt, but then when he was officially out, the offense hasn't been able to rebound. Me kind of leaning into the prediction, I think the Rams have become the team that they are. There's the setup kind of reminds me a little bit of Tampa Bay last year, where they struggle to kind of
Hmm.
get into a rhythm, find out who they are, what works within the system,
Yeah.
where is each player and where is each piece fit perfectly. And then once when
Hmm.
they found that, they became the
Hmm.
best team in the league. If it wasn't for a hot
You
start
heard it.
by
You heard it
Drew
here
Brees.
first. Tyler saying the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl.
It's possible. I need to see who they end up playing. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. I don't think. I think this team is that good. And when they get hot, they can be one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league. The issue with though is just their consistency, and they just have been a little bit. They've been one of the more inconsistent teams throughout the year. However, fortunately for them, though, the Cardinals have been more inconsistent, especially in the second half of the season. That's why I think the Rams are going to win. I think that they're just going to make less mistakes. I think that they're just going to be making less turnovers and going to effectively be able to move the ball around and just have the momentum on their side. I also
Mhm.
think too. Well, not that this plays into it, but Matt Stafford, I think this is going to be his first playoff win. So I think everyone knows that is obviously going to be. It's obviously on everyone's mind, especially in that Rams work. Well, what's on everyone's mind is winning the game. But I think Matt Stafford's ready. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Just been on a horrible Lions team, and now we've been able to see
Mhm.
how great he has been, especially with his combination of Cooper
Yeah.
Cup. I
I
think they're going to have a game. I think that they're going to win 31-20.
yeah, I definitely think that the casual football fan has not necessarily known a lot about Matt Stafford
Mm-hmm.
over the last, decade now, just because of how bad the Lions were, and
Yeah.
I I really was excited for him to go to a place where I think he'll be able to utilize his talents and really be the player that he can be. So I'm going to pick the Rams too. I think they're just going to have too much. The last time they played was kind of like the start
Mm-hmm.
of the Rams really becoming the team that we thought they would be. Insert quote, they are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
Uh,
Former Cardinals coach,
so
actually.
yeah. um, so I just think the Rams are a better team. I think at this point in the season, the Cardinals are banged up. Kyler Murray has been out of the lineup with injuries. A lot of that offensive line has been out of the lineup with injuries. They're missing their best weapon in DeAndre Hopkins. Zach Ertz has only been there for half the year,
Mm-hmm.
and that defense missing a few pieces. And I just the Cardinals are banged up. They're not playing the greatest football at the moment, and I just think the Rams are on the upswing and the Cardinals are on the downswing. And for me, I'm going to say 31-24 to the Rams. This is a division matchup, so I'm going to make it a one-score game just because I think these teams are going to know each other really well.
Mm-hmm.
However, I just think the Rams are going to edge them out. I don't think either defense is going to have a great game, which will lead for entertaining football, just not for the film session on Monday.
Yeah.
So Rams 31-24. And yeah,
Okay. All right. I like it.
yeah. I think this is going to be a really interesting matchup. This is the second rubber match of this year's playoffs. You got the Patriots and the Bills, and now the Rams and the Cardinals, who are playing in a rubber match on Wild Card Weekend. So those are some big matchups. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Tyler and I are trying to hit 400 subscribers by Super Bowl weekend. So if you could help us reach that goal, we would be very appreciative. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win. And other than that, I think this episode is going to be over. And we will see you guys next time.